Okay, so I'm just going to say a few words because I think I'm not the main course here. We've got to hear from the other people, and I want to learn from them. I'll just talk a little bit about a little bit of the history, which you all know, but still, I think it's important and informative in discussing the child development accounts that are occurring in Israel or starting to occur at the beginning of 2017. Child allowances in Israel have had a very rocky road. It's been a lot of ups and downs over the years, and there was a period where child allowances were incredibly high to the point where a large enough family could basically support themselves on child allowances alone if they wanted to. They were cut drastically in 2003 in an effort to get the Haredi populations out to the labor force. They were cut again in 2013 with the forming of the government, in which for the first time the Haredi populations did not find themselves inside of the coalition. And then in 2015, with the new elections, they were raised slightly, the child allowances. But what developed was not just a slight increase in child allowances, but also this new concept of the child development accounts, which Michal had a very, very large hand in, and she's going to tell you about the details of that. So I'm not going to talk about that. But I'll talk about something I've said a number of times, and Johnny yesterday told me I'm wrong, but I'll mention that also. I felt that this was a really clever way to go. On the one hand, Israel needed to, because the new government, the government needed to placate the Haredi parties because they're part of the coalition, and the thing that interests these parties in particular is money for the children. The thing is that the cuts that happened in 2003 and in 2013 or 2012 had a really large effect on Haredi behavior. A lot more went out to the labor market, a lot more went out and got education, perhaps not in the numbers that we would like to see, but it's had a real effect, and that real effect is something that you don't want to see disappear. You don't want it to go away. Now, my concern was, if you just go and raise that again, well, maybe there's been a paradigm change, and maybe people will decide, I should stay in the labor market anyway, but maybe there will be those who will decide otherwise. And we all know that there are always marginal effects. And if you increase the subsidy, direct subsidy the families are getting, many of the people might decide not to continue going to the labor market, or you might halt or stall the increase in the number of people who are heading out to the labor market. By doing it this way, you're not screwing up the incentives. Okay, you're not saying, okay, take the money and do with it as you will. You're saying we're going to be putting the money into an account that is available for the child when he reaches maturity, and it's going to be available for certain uses. And if you do that, then today they still need to feed their families, and they still need to feed their families. They still need to get out to the labor market. So the reason Johnny thinks that this is that I'm not. That this is not a big issue is because he says, well, the sum just isn't big enough. I think marginal effects are always important. And I think if you take a large enough family, even if you take, 50 shekel per child, and you take a family of, I gave him the example of 10 children, which is a lot, but, there are many Haredi families that are there or near there. You're talking about 500 shekel plus their ability to match that money, which will then make it 1,000 shekel. 1,000 shekel a month is not a small amount of money. It's not a small amount of money, particularly for families that don't have that much and that are willing to live in, mitzumtzam, to live with only a limited amount of funds. And therefore, I'm not sure that the marginal effect wouldn't have been significant. It's an empirical question, which I don't have the answer to, and I very much appreciate the comment because I've said this a number of times already. And with that, that's basically a little bit of the background of what's going on. So we have these two plans. They're keeping the Haredi population, not giving them the money in their hands so that they can use it and replace their need to go to the workforce. At the same time, it's promising the future of their children, which is what they were particularly interested in. So with that, I'm going to turn over to the experts who are going to tell you a lot more about these plans than anything I know about, and I look forward to listening.